Mind Gap Podcast.
Hey everybody, welcome to Mind Gap Podcast. I've got another special guest, another guest co-host with me this week. Please welcome back for the time, Seth Trammell!
Hey, Doug. Thank you for having me.
We're so glad you're here.
That's the sound you make when I'm there. Yep.
Justin is off exercising demons in the deep south. So
was that the noise I heard?
yeah, he just
the demons being exercised.
Yeah, the demons inside of his penis just got exercised. So, you know, because you know what he said.
I would lick the pole.
That's true. Followed by, and then
Nice.
You know, so we've got them all lined up and ready to go. Whew. So that's how we like to start the show. Yeah, but I've got Seth back in action. If you don't remember, if you haven't been, I mean, it's been several episodes. I think the last episode you're on was 335, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So it's
And my
been a
episodes
minute.
Aren't popular. Let's be fair.
False.
My goal is to be at the Noah Reno level of popularity. Like that's what I want to do. Like really more than anything, Doug, with this episode, I just want to break whatever records he's set.
Okay.
Like I want to be the one on next year's YouTube report where it's like, oh, this episode really crushed it.
Okay. All right. Maybe we'll find a clip in here. You know,
with that guy.
Find the clip. Right? You know that goes
find some
big.
Gold.
Yeah, we're gonna find some gold together. Because that's what we do. We're miners. Right. But you may know Seth if you've joined the Discord. He goes by Slutty Bartfest. He is also friends with Irv Steven, who is on the Dinkum podcast with Andy America. So you know, it's good to have you on here, and thank you for being the guest gaper, as everyone likes to say.
Thank you. Yes, that's the proper pronunciations, please.
Right? Exactly, proper pronunciations.
A little bit of guest gape over here.
That's right. You know, at the end of the day, it's good to have a guest gaper because you need to get that other perspective. You need to get fresh hands on a situation. You know, to really take a look at things.
Root around in there.
100%. You know, just to see, find, because that's what it is. You
put on your gloves, get down to business.
Look at you. Look at this metrosexual wearing gloves, man. I tell you, unbelievable. You take your fancy pants.
I just like hygiene. Okay.
Here's the guy who's like, family, we're going to Panera Bread. I'm like, oh, what is Wendy's too good for you? He's like, we're going to Panera. You know, he's just a fancy high class guy. You know, I get it.
Sorry, no, Panera Bread is hospital food that they sell.
Wow.
To the public.
Wow, hospital food. Okay, interesting. Yeah, I've been to Panera like 3 times.
Find where I'm wrong.
Prove me. You're like a Steven Crowder. Panera Bread is hospital food for the general public. Prove me wrong. Yikes.
Consequently, it's cheaper.
Yeah, I mean, that's American healthcare. But before we get started, some quick housekeeping. If you don't know already, you can check us out live. We live stream the podcast on Tuesdays, either 7 or 8 p.m. Central, depending on our guests. Most of the time, 7 p.m., but we're doing it 8 p.m. Central tonight. So wiggity woo.
Eastern Standard Time over
That's
here.
That's right. I also host a video game live stream on Fridays and or Saturdays, depending on what's going on, you know, in the world. So come check that out. It's always fun. You can also join our Discord. Link is in the description down below. Also, if you're here and you're enjoying yourself, hit the like button. And if you're feeling extra inclined, hit the subscribe button. It means a lot. We're up to 264 subscribers at this point in time, which honestly, I got to tell you, gang, I cost you nothing. And seriously, like we've come so far in a year. You know, last November, I think, or early December, we started like using shorts and things like that. And we saw an explosion of growth in our channel, and we've gotten over the 200 mark, and now we're getting close to the 300 mark. So thank you to all who have liked and subscribed over the past year. We really appreciate you and for supporting us. And if you'd like to support us with more, you can always head to patreon.com/mindgappodcast like Clarissa did, Emilio's wonderful partner. Thank you so much for joining the Patreon club. And then also you can check out our merch at redbubble.com/ or just redbubble.com and then type in Mind Gap Podcast in the search and you can find all our stuff there. So bing, 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 bing.
Excited for next year. I heard you're moving to Twitter Spaces.
Oh, good. So I can talk with Elon, hopefully, about his grand plans for what he's going to do to burn down Twitter. You know?
Exactly. Yeah.
Twitter
Podcast
Spaces.
to be exclusively hosted on Twitter Spaces.
Jesus
An
Christ.
exclusive deal.
What a shit show of a social media. I've been taking such a break from everything since I've been off. I'm off the last 2 weeks of December, and I have done so much disconnecting from things. I have no idea what's going on in the news. I've stayed off pretty much all social media. I haven't done much thinking. It's been kind of nice, but also
So
this
what
is
you mean to say is the only news you've really gotten are like the memes that get posted in the Discord.
100%.
That's basically where you're getting all of your connection to the outside world is through Discord. Oh,
Yep. I think it's great compared to what I normally do. So the hard part about this is that it's going to be hard for me to spin myself back up and get back into my groove because 2 weeks off is a long time, especially when you have nothing planned. So like I have.
So I'm on a similar break. I have to head back to work tomorrow for like 2 whole fucking days.
Mhm.
And then I get another like 4 or 5 days off. But you're right. It's like when I'm away from work for this period of time, it really makes me like, God damn it. Why do I actually have to fucking do this?
Mm-hmm.
Like the existence I was just living. This was what I was meant to do.
Yeah, right.
This was what feels right. This stuff, this faking, like going in and pretending to be important, do dumb shit. Like that's not me. That's
Yeah.
not us.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's weird because following the news for me, I think is somewhat important because I feel like I have some sort of obligation to know what's going on. Just so part of it is selfish because so much of my life I've heard someone say, "Hey, did you hear about X, Y, and Z?" And I'm like, I have no idea what that is or why it's happening. And I kind of feel like I just want to be informed. So if someone says, "Have you heard about that?" I'm like, actually, I have heard about that because I've been following it, but it's a huge burden just to follow that stuff on the regular basis. It's good to know, to have an idea of the awareness, but boy, does it it puts some weight on your shoulders emotionally and mentally. And it's a lot, to shoulder. It gets old.
Like, part of my job, I have to monitor Twitter because a lot of the industry I work in, a lot of the news is disseminated through Twitter. So like, for those who don't know, and honestly, why would anybody fucking care? I work in SEO, which is all about search engines and really focused on Google because it's the predominant one. And I really need to be focused on what the Google algorithm's up to. They update it multiple times per year. And when they do that, chaos. So one of my jobs at my company is to monitor that kind of stuff and be aware when that's happening. And Twitter is where it always happens first. So I have like an obligation to be on Twitter every day for work. And I have to work very hard to keep myself from going into the dark spiral that is clicking those things on the right-hand side that, the Explore, I forget the one you shared with me last night, but it was like Kyle Rittenhouse and like
something piece of shit, he's a piece of shit,
but they were separate.
Yeah. But they were
separate
first
headings.
one, the second one, and then it was something like, I don't know, some weird, I don't know. It was bizarre. It's such a weird For You thing, and it's such a horrible thing to wander down. It's never a good thing.
Right. Well, the thing, you click one, you go into it, you spend 5 minutes looking at all of the bile that's been produced there, and then it gives you another. It refreshes and gives you a new set of things that's like of morbid curiosities that you might want to like. Marjorie Taylor Greene. What the fuck's that? What the fuck is that loon up to?
What do they say now?
And then it's like, then you get lost down that rabbit hole. Next thing I know, it's 9:45. I have a meeting in 15 minutes, which I am utterly unprepared for. And all I've done is get a bunch of bad feelings about everything from Twitter. And now I just have a bunch of bad feelings I have to shed before I take them into a meeting.
Yeah, because that's all that is with Twitter. I realize that, and I've stayed off of it for a while, or for a couple weeks now, just ever since Elon's taken over. I'm like, I don't want to be a part of this circus, and I feel better about it because I would constantly fall into the same trap where I would recognize a trend or a hashtag, then I'm like, oh, this sounds crazy, and I'm like, I'm gonna get to the bottom of it. But here's the thing, gang. Here's the thing. There is no bottom. There's nothing to it. There's no. It's like watching freakouts.
There is no bottom, only a power bottom.
There you go. Yeah, you're the one that's getting fucked. That's the thing. The more you look down, you're bending over, and then it's coming up from behind you, and it's like tick-a-ta, just giving it to you, and and
like speed bag on your balls.
And you're like, oh my god. It's one of those things where, it's like watching for the longest time on TikTok. My algorithms was Karens and people freaking out in public, and I would watch them because I'm like, oh my god. Practical Doug's like, well, gee, I wonder how this started, and I wonder what happened after the fact, and you never get a resolution, ever. There's never a resolution to the freak out, and there's something like it's like eating a big old donut. You're like, oh yeah, I want to, this tastes so good, but it doesn't fill you up. It's not really satisfying, and you feel gross afterwards because you realize you didn't get any nutrition. You didn't get anything out of it. You just saw this flash of crazy rage between two people I'll never meet, and I'll never know the full context of it. It's just one person filming, one person's side of the story, and you'll never understand it. But I was just apparently watching them, and it was just feeding this stuff to me, and I hated it to the point where I stopped using it. And eventually my algorithm got reset, and then I get different stuff now.
I have a very similar thing on Instagram because I don't do TikTok yet.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll watch the Instagram Reels, which are basically just recycled TikTok. So I'm just watching TikTok on a different format.
Yeah, you're on TikTok on a delay, basically.
My version of that, though, are foreign cooking videos where they have some food object that is very intriguing, but it's all in a different language. And I'm like, am I going to get to see what this is? And then you never get to see what it actually is. You see them eat, they'll just cut the video, they'll be like cutting up some gigantic thing. Halfway through one cut, they're just like, the video's over. No resolution ever. You just left in wonder forever. Like, what the fuck was that thing?
Oh my god!
People eat that?
Yeah.
What's inside? No resolution ever. And the other thing is, any video that says "watch until the end,"
I immediately skip. I'm like, that's you just want people to feed the algorithm. That's what you want.
I've been burned too many times because there's never anything at the end.
Just wait for it. Wait for it. It's like, no, it never pays off. It's never good. Like, if you have to tell me to wait for it, then you're an asshole. It means that your shit's bullshit. So I'm not here for it. But speaking of food, holidays just happened. I know you're a master of cooking. Tell me about what's you dabble. Yeah, you dabble a lot. And if you join the Discord, you head to the recipes section, you can see a lot of the great stuff Seth makes. Like something I force
everybody to watch and look at.
It's great. It's awesome. Real quick, Jared says you should be able to report videos that say wait till the end and have nothing. I 100% agree with you, sir. Couldn't agree with you more. Fuck those guys. Yeah. Bunch of what do you think I'm here to do? I'm not here to fuck spiders. I got shit to do, man.
Spiders.
I got shit to do. All right.
What do you think I'm on Instagram for? Because I'm not here to fuck spiders.
Like, how can you sue for misleading trailers? Right? Like, maybe we'll get to that. We'll hang on to that. Put a pin in that. We might get to that. We'll see.
Yeah. Cool your tits, Jared.
Yeah. Hey, Jared, chill your tits. Okay. I don't have it ready to go right out the gate, but just. All
right, chill your tits.
All right. Yeah. Fornicate those arachnids. Thank you, sir. But Seth is known to do some cooking, and he shares his good stuff. And I think it inspires us all to share our culinary delights that we make. So what's some of the stuff you made for the holidays?
So I was mostly I was the side dish guy for the holidays.
Okay.
This year, I did side dish and dessert.
Okay.
So main course for Christmas was a three bone prime rib roast.
Oh yeah, I did a prime rib roast.
See, we're on the same wavelength. Now, my sister-in-law was the one who cooked it. Fantastically done.
Nice.
Tremendous. Huge. I was in charge of the mashed potatoes.
All right.
And I've recently come upon a shortcut that produces fantastic mashed potatoes, but also cuts out one of the worst parts of it, which is cooking the actual fucking potatoes.
Now,
I don't know about you, but I'm a skins-on mashed potatoes guy.
It works for me.
I don't have fucking time to deal.
Yeah, to peel them, it's like, nah, fuck it, man. It's fine.
The skins taste fine to me. So I bought a couple of bags of the steam in the bag potatoes, where it's like, just pop in the microwave for 8 minutes. It steams them. Basically 2 of those, plop those in a pan where I've been sweating some onions. I know that's the part where you check out.
Yeah, I'm not listening anymore. You can just stop the story right there.
But then it's warm milk, and then I've been making my own herb butter of late.
Yes.
Herb and garlic butter. Warm milk, melted herb butter. Just dump that in, start mashing up until it's the right consistency. Baby, we're good to go.
All right.
And then without that, it was sugar cookies, cut out cookies with royal icing for dessert.
Yes. Also did that with Natalie and her neighbor friends, and also we did another batch the following day. We did some Christmas cookies with royal. Yeah, just for us, which was goddamn it, they were so good. And you posted your recipe. We basically did the same thing. Like there was a couple minor differences, but our recipes were basically exactly the same for that. So,
I mean, there's only so many ways you can skin that cat, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Personally, I'm a big subscriber to Sally's Baking Addiction.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Sally.
Charlie.
Trying to get an endorsement deal over there.
Nice.
But no, I'm sorry, her recipes always hit the mark. Yeah, big ups to Sally and her baking addiction.
Nice. I've been a big fan of Babish. He's a big one. Joshua Weissman. And recently Preppy Kitchen with John Cannell. Like, they've been good to me.
I think that is where our difference lies.
Mm-hmm.
You like video recipes.
Yes.
I can't stand them and need them written and printed. I print out maybe this is the one of the old people things that I do.
Okay, boomer.
I print out all my recipes and I have them in a 3-ring binder in protective sleeves.
Okay. All right.
I mean, once I make it and I determine it's good, it makes the binder.
Yeah.
And then it becomes one of my recipes. I'm building my own recipe book.
Nice. That's cool. Yeah, for me, I like it's in my YouTube algorithm, so I'll constantly be fed all these different videos and I'll watch it and be like, I wonder what it's like to make this. Is it a lot of work? Is it easy? And then once I watch it and see it, then I'll go to the respective blog and get the recipe from there and follow it, because I just need to see it done first and then see what goes into it. Because there's times where I'm like, oh, this looks awesome. And I watch the recipe. I'm like, fuck that. I am not doing that. That seems like a ton of work and I'll pass. Like, no, thank you. But I see it and I'm like, oh, this doesn't look that hard. Or I have all these ingredients on hand. I'll do this right now. So Jared goes, sounds like a little practical Seth lives inside a big Seth. It might be. Just might be.
I am, we've not talked about it, but there, as much as there is a practical Doug, there is a very big practical Seth.
Nice.
I would tend to think that the practical Seth outweighs all other Seths accumulated.
Mm-hmm.
I crave practicality.
Yes.
I drive a 2003 Subaru Outback with less than 100,000 miles and I won't let go of it because A, it's paid off, and B, it still gets me from point A to point B. And
it's
that's
reliable.
What I fucking want from it. It's reliable. Yeah. Exactly.
That's right.
Practicality. People. Yeah. I am not one of those people who you will find making impractical decisions, except for when it comes to boats. Now, boats are a great now.
How dare you? Jared goes, a Subaru what? What is that?
Yes.
Is it like the N-word for Australians?
Right?
My culture is not a car. Bullshit, sir.
Has been
bullshit.
For like, Paul Hogan used to sell these things.
I'm sorry. Your culture is also a, I don't know, C- restaurant in the U.S. So, can't take that from us. I mean,
I don't know. I'm going to give, I'm sorry, but Outback Steakhouse brought us to Bloomin' Onion. And for that,
and for that, C-, the one thing they're known for, I don't like. So,
your hate of onions aside, I'm sorry, but
no apology needed.
Who enjoys onions? Bloomin' Onions are something incredible.
I want to go back real quick because I want to get your thoughts on the gravy debate with the mashed potatoes. Are you a gravy on mashed potatoes person or a pat of butter on mashed potatoes person?
So my goal when I make mashed potatoes is to make them taste so good on their own they do not need gravy.
That is a bold goal, my friend.
Now, I achieve that semi-regularly,
mm-hmm.
but I'm not opposed. Like, if somebody wants a little bit of gravy on theirs, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But if it's me, I'm more often just doing the pat of butter. Like, honestly, like the finishing touch of any batch of mashed potatoes I make, several pats of butter are on top of that waiting for those first few scoops to just make them amazing.
Okay. That's fair enough. My dad used to tell me that way back in the day when I was first having quote unquote steaks, because I say that in quotes because I was having it at places like Golden Corral and Ponderosa, which is the worst place to have steaks, by the way.
I don't remember them being, I mean, all right. I remember Golden Corral. I remember Ponderosa, but I remember them fondly. Okay.
I don't, because my garbage palate was only just, it was a playground of gross stuff that I would make. I've said this before, I'll tell the story again. At Golden Corral, first of all, the reason why we went to places with all-you-can-eat buffets all the time was my parents didn't cook, and two growing boys playing sports needed all the food they could eat, so we would just go to places like Golden Corral and Ponderosa, where it's all-you-can-eat buffets, and we would eat on the cheap, and it was garbage food. I think even I knew a little bit. I kind of knew that back then, but I didn't care, because for me it was quantity over quality, which took me meeting and marrying Jill to finally get over that. But one of the things that I would go and do is just make these abomination plates. And one of the things I would do is take like the...
I feel like that needs like a TM on the end.
Abomination plates, right?
Come on down to Golden Corral and have an abomination plate.
It's like, you can make Doug's plate of the week, which was the spaghetti noodles that were just sitting in water under heat lamps. So these things were soaked all the way through, mushy as hell. I would scoop those out.
Kept it from being crunchy.
It was that, or all the water was gone, and then it became like stiff and dry. So it's one or the other. But it didn't matter, because I would always hydrate it, because I would take that from the Italian side of things, and I'd go over to the Mexican station. I would just put a big old thing of nacho cheese over that, and I would just eat spaghetti with nacho cheese.
Spaghetti and nacho cheese. Okay.
One of the nightmare things I would make, and I look back to that and be like,
you ever dip your pizza in the nacho cheese?
I didn't. Here's the thing.
There was the pizza bar at these things, right?
Even I knew the pizza bar was garbage back then. Like, it was so.
Oh yeah,
such gross
any frozen pizza,
Right.
pizza on the planet. But as a kid, when I went to a place and pizza was there, I was getting it.
Yeah.
Garbage though it may be.
I was so picky, even back then, where I was like, I don't know what kind of pizza this is, but I don't trust it. But I mean, I look back at my parents who let me craft these abomination plates, you know, and just be like, nom, 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 nom. Their macaroni and cheese, it was just sitting in whatever sauce, and the noodles would just be basically disintegrate.
The first image that came to my head was the macaroni and cheese, which had the consistency was so inconsistent.
It was like gruel, you know?
It was, every time you went, you would get a different, like there was ones that were just like, okay, a crust has formed.
Mm-hmm.
Then there was ones that were like, I'm still liquid.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was the tweener stage,
yeah,
where it's like, I've been sitting here, right? In between crust and liquid.
Yeah.
This kind of like non-Newtonian solid.
In between crust and liquid, the Doug Cochran story. Yeah, dude. I mean, absolutely no seasoning whatsoever. It was bland. It tasted like absolute shit, but I was like, macaroni and cheese. And I remember eating it and just knowing this doesn't taste good, but I would still eat it because I didn't know any different. And when I finally made my own food that tasted good, I'm like, I was like, these doors just keep opening in my life. Like, going back to what my dad said, he's like, a good steak doesn't need any sauce, because when I grew up, it was always Heinz 57. Like Heinz 57 on a steak. My mom always told me we had to order it well done. And so, of course, they tasted like shit, especially when you go to places like Golden Corral, which are not known for making steaks. You know, they're not known for that. So you'd like go to the shitty place and be like, I want it well done.
Point in their history where they were.
I guess.
I think they may start out aspirationally trying to be steakhouses.
Sure.
Ponderosa 100%.
Sure. I mean,
at some point they ditched it for the buffet.
Yeah, right. And it's one of those things where, I don't know, man, it's just so dumb. It's so dumb that that's what that was. But, and I used to think I was on this quest to find the seasoning that they put on this steak. I would try the Montreal steak or these seasoned packets and put them on there. I'm like, I just can't quite get what it is. And then I watched some video. It was Gordon Ramsay showing you how to cook a steak. And I watched it, and he just, you know, kosher salt and pepper. That was it. And then he did the butter based with it, with the herbs and spices in there. And I was like, Oh, and I tried it. I'm like, oh my God, this is it. It's kosher salt. Kosher salt is the magic seasoning that makes this taste so good. And I was like, and that was like my first step towards making food that tasted good.
So your early steak experience, like, sounds like it was a page ripped out of my wife and mother-in-law's playbook, right?
Yeah.
Well done, cooked beyond all recognition.
Yes.
And then slathered in Heinz 57 and A1.
Yep.
Sometimes ketchup too.
Yep.
And it's like this, and really what that says to me. And this is, I'm done. Our days of having this fight are over. She likes what she likes. Great, go ahead.
Right.
Do what you want. Just leave me out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, it just says this meat has been rendered so tough and tasteless that I need to fully coat it, encapsulate it within something else. And that's the flavor I want. The steak now has ceased to be its own thing. It is merely a delivery device for sauce.
I was the same thing with hash browns growing up. I would drown my hash browns in ketchup. And when I looked back on that, I was like, I guess I just wanted to eat ketchup with a little bit of hash browns.
Something to hold it on the fork.
Before I started, really watching what I ate, I realized how much sauce I put on stuff. Barbecue sauce. I would just drown shit in barbecue sauce. I guess I really just wanted to eat the barbecue sauce. Like, I just didn't care about well, when you think about it, most barbecue places you go to in the Midwest, I mean, let's face it, most of them they're average at best. And there's nothing wrong with an average barbecue, right?
Well, I can't speak to barbecue places in the Midwest too much because I don't live in the Midwest.
Gotcha.
And when I did, I didn't visit too many barbecue places.
Yeah. I would argue
my barbecue experience is East Coast.
I would argue most of the barbecue is it's 3 out of 5. It's fine. It'll suit your purposes. It's nothing that's going to get you excited, but it will be fine. It will check that box for your pang for some barbecue. But it's not going to be anything to write home about. And in a lot of those places, the sauce is what you need to give it that extra hi-ya. You know what I mean? You go to it's like going to a really good steakhouse or going to any place that's really good and you try it at the Mecca. Like going down to Austin and having brisket down in fucking Texas and getting good brisket. I was like, I get it now. Because most of the brisket that I had is not really that good. I was like, I don't see why people like brisket so much. And then I made my own. I was like, oh, fuck. Okay. And then I went to the legit place. I'm like, I get it now. This is how you're supposed to make it. This is how it's supposed to be done. And you taste it and you're like, okay. And I don't judge.
That's my argument with Carolina barbecue.
I tried. See, Carolina, I'm not a big.
Do the talking.
I agree with that. Like, I think because Carolina is known for like pulled pork. Like, that's their shit. Pulled pork for Carolina, which is good. I'm not a fan of the Carolina sauce with like the vinegar and things like that. It's not entirely my jam, but I respect the shit out of
It's grown on me so much. My first impressions of it were like, first off, knowing what it was, I'm like, I am not going to like this. And I'm now over 5 years in. I'm obsessed. It is.
You know what?
I had like $100 to Gold Belly.
Mm-hmm.
My company gave me, and I bought this massive barbecue platter from someplace down in North Carolina. I still have some in my freezer. It is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
I'll say this. I don't know if I've given it a full try. I think I may have tried it in a small dose, and I think I at this point in my life, I'd give it a strong try. I'd be down to give it a whirl because my mind has been opened up to a lot of different things, different tastes and things.
Back when we first met, we talked about barbecue, and when I said I had a predilection for Carolina barbecue, both you and Justin, just like dogpile time.
We did.
Let's get him.
Yeah. Because I guess compared to some of the other stuff I've had Kansas City barbecue, I've had St. Louis barbecue, I've had Texas barbecue. I've had a lot of that sort of stuff, and that stuff appeals to me just fine. I think, because I like the sweet sauce. I like
Don't get me wrong. I love all the other. I'm like, barbecue is like one of my 3 major food groups. So I'm here for it.
Yes. I love it. Jared says brisket never appealed to me until I went to a U.S. themed barbecue place here. Yeah, I mean, it's the thing. Like, again, that's one of those things. Like, you can have okay pulled pork. It's fine. You get through it. It's not that bad. You can have okay pulled smoked chicken. It's fine. In my opinion, if you have just okay brisket, you're like, what the fuck is this? Like, why is everyone losing their shit over this?
So maybe it's just the East Coast thing, but barbecue restaurants, you can pick them out by where they're located.
Mm-hmm.
If it is a hole in the wall in a shopping center, there is an 8 out of 10 chance you got something legit. If it is an upscale place and they're trying to be, modern barbecue or whatever, and they have a list of appetizers that's yay like run.
Yeah.
Just run. I went to a barbecue place near me that was like purported to be like, this is from Chef so and so who's been on America's Top Chef and all these different shows, and this is went in there, hated it.
Yeah.
I spent $150 for 2 people to have barbecue that was meh.
Yeah. No,
But
man.
there was a hole in the wall near me that closed down a couple years back that was fucking
Give me the
incredible.
place that has that classic Pepsi sign out front with the name of the place on it. And is like, or has like some weird banner in some really rundown place. You're like, this is where the good barbecue is going to be. You know what I mean?
When you walk in, there are 3 tables.
Yeah.
There's the counter, and then the entire operation. You can just see it. You can
Yes.
see everything that's going on behind you.
Yeah.
There's the Pepsi cooler or whatever on the
Yeah.
side where they've got like a couple drinks.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Those are the places.
That's the shit. That's the place you want to go to. That's where they're there to make that stuff, and it makes you see it and you're like, yep, this is where I want to go. Now, if you said that was going to be a used car dealership, you'd be like, I'll pass. But you put some sort of like restaurant or dive or whatever, and you put it in that place, people are like, I'm going to fucking go and eat there. You know what I mean?
The same type of logic applies to Mexican restaurants I've encountered. I even heard recently of the 3-star theory, the 3-star rating theory of Chinese restaurants, where anything below 3 stars, stay away from.
Mm-hmm.
Anything above 3 stars, stay away from, because authentic Chinese, like the service that authentic Chinese people provide in a restaurant, is never going to appeal to Americans, and you'll always have detractors, but the food will be amazing.
Yeah.
And so like this guy like reasoned it out, and it made a lot of sense that like the 3 stars, if you see a Chinese restaurant that's 3 stars, give it a go. Probably going to be the best food. Service won't be what, up to American standards, but the food will be there. And that's all I'm here for.
All right. I'm here for it. Well, that was a fun.
I just want to go back to steaks real quick, though.
Let's go back to steaks.
It's not that long ago that I introduced my oldest daughter Josie to her first steak.
Okay.
She was curious. Like she's like, what's the big deal? Now, does Natalie do steak?
Natalie I used to do steak night every Sunday night. I'd buy a pack of ribeyes from Costco, and I'd throw most of them in the freezer, and I'd get one out, and then I would season it and I'd put it in the fridge for 24 hours to let it season and age, and then I'd throw it on the smoker, and I'd do the reverse sear. I'd smoke it, get it to its internal temp, and then throw it and sear it. And God damn it, anyone who wants to come over and try my work, you're welcome to, because I guarantee you're going to enjoy the shit out of this steak. I've gotten it down, and Natalie used to love it, but for whatever reason, she's like, I'm like, I don't trust you anymore. It's the same thing. Like she liked pesto pasta that I would make, and she loved it for one. And then she's like, I don't want it anymore. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You just said you liked it. I know you do, but I guess it's classic kid things. We're like, I don't like it. I'm like, all right, well, just remember that Dad's always going to make a good steak, so eat my ass. So
is that how you introduced her to steak? Was through that kind of like a ribeye that you Okay,
she
so
likes
your introduction.
She likes the fatty bits just like I do.
Oh, interesting.
She loves the fatty bits.
I'm the exact opposite.
Yeah.
So when Josie said she wanted a steak, I went out and I bought filet, and I bought New York strip, because those are the less fatty cuts. Filet, especially, no fucking fat in that. And then New York strip is the less fatty part of a T-bone.
Yeah.
And so then I did the exact thing that you described from that Gordon Ramsay video.
Yeah.
I did, I got the seared crust, only salt and pepper. Then I did the butter with the herbs and the garlic spooned over top. This was so, imagine, if you will, you're 10 years old, and that's your introduction to steak. It's a filet mignon cooked in that fashion.
Yeah.
So needless to say, she's a fan.
Yeah.
For now, though, like you said, it's fickle. It could change.
Yeah.
But my introduction to steak was literally a like thin steak like this that was cooked. I remember the color. It was like grayish brown.
Yep.
And like all the way through, top, bottom, all grayish brown, lots of pepper, too much pepper on top, and tough.
Yeah.
Tough as hell. And I didn't like steak for a lot of years.
I didn't like.
And I blame my mom for that.
Oh, I blame my parents. My dad used to grill hamburgers. He would burn the shit out of them, and I'm like, this tastes terrible. Tacos, and burritos. My mom used to brown ground beef, strain it, and then just add cheese. She wouldn't put any spices on it. She wouldn't season it.
Okay, what was that practice?
Yeah, I don't know.
And then I've never had the strained ground beef, by the way.
Yeah, she just drained it, strained it. I mean, just ground beef at the store, you know?
Right. Like I remember vividly having to strain ground beef. And as I've grown up, I've never had this thing of ground beef that was so full of liquid where I'm like, what, that I would need to strain it.
It must have been like 80-20 ground beef or something like that.
Shit.
That's the best stuff. I feel, and I'm like, I don't want to drain it. I incorporate it into whatever I'm doing because it tastes it's flavor. It's good.
My seasoning packet needs something to help disperse it. To this grease is perfect.
Yeah, right. I just, and listen, I look back at this as like my parents are not good at cooking. All right, and I don't hold that against them because they also grew up in a time where you had to write stuff down on a card or a piece of paper and then hand it to someone and then hope to God, because you didn't have any videos, any pictures, anything to teach you how well things were going. You had nothing. So they just kind of did some stuff and it was okay, but they didn't learn how to season stuff. The only thing they got to learn was knowledge that was transferred down to them firsthand. So that's where you get like
Reader's Digest.
Right. That's where you get the white people food stuff, where people don't know how to season their goddamn stuff. So you get this bland things. And I remember being so disappointed. I was like, oh, we're having tacos tonight. And I eat tacos. And I'm like, why does this taste like shit? And then I go to Taco Bell. I'm like, why does this taste good? And then why
does this taste like shit? And then I went to a real nice
then I went my senior year of college. Junior or senior year, Jill's like, hey, we should make nachos. I'm like, I'm not making fucking nachos. I had like a very aggressive response to it. And Jill's like, I mean, this is like the perfect meal for us. We're poor college kids. Like, this is what we should do. I'm like, whatever, you can make them. And she started making them. And she just got some old El Paso season packets, put it on there. I was like, why does it smell so good in here? And I started looking at it, I'm like, oh my God, this has the same color as Taco Bell meat. And then I tried it and I was like, oh my God, I love this. And she's like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, this isn't how my family used to make it. It tasted like nothing. We're making this every night. And all I wanted to do was make nachos because I had unlocked and opened the door to a whole new world for me at that time. It was crazy. You know, it was just absolutely fucking crazy, man. Those moments stay with me because I'm like, I just didn't know. And I'm not going to lead Natalie in the same way, you know? Yeah.
See, I think I had that same effect on my wife because when we got together, Mexican food in general, but it was all a no-go.
Yeah.
All of it was out. And I'm like, I'm betting you just really haven't had any decent Mexican food. Like, just try mine. For 3 or 4 years, no, thank you. My taste buds are what they are. They won't change. You can't make me like it.
Yeah.
And then one day, the smell got to her. She's like, why does the smell so good? Gives it a try. Now, it's one of her top 4.
Yeah. That's the thing is, I know this stuff will change over time. Because Natalie was always like, I don't like brown rice. I'm like, it's the same. It tastes the fucking same. Like, it does. And I made 3 meals that had brown rice in it. Didn't tell her. She didn't question it. She ate it. She loved it. And then I finally was like, hey, you know those last 3 meals we had? And I named them off. She goes, yeah. I go, guess what? Those have brown rice in them. And she goes, oh, I guess I do like brown rice. I'm like, yes, yes. Ah, I got you.
I'm still having to fight I don't want this noodle because no, it fucking doesn't.
Dude, the noodles, I can't listen. I know scientifically there's certain noodles you need to have with certain things. I don't fucking care. I do not care. Just like you could probably tell me, hey, Doug, you need to let that steak rest. I personally don't care. Just give it to me. I'll eat it. I don't care if the juices have settled or not. I'll fucking eat it up. I don't give a fuck. Like, it's like, no, you need fusilli pasta if you're going to be doing this because no. Just put any fucking pasta in there. Just put it in there.
The way that my 4-year-old is eating it with just fucking butter and salt.
Yeah.
They're all going to be the fucking same. There is no prestige noodle to put butter on.
No,
I don't care.
100%. Sometimes Natalie will be like, "Hey, I want to have some just noodles tonight." I'm like, "Cool, whatever I have, I'm gonna give it to you." Like that's what's because she asked, "What noodles do you have?" I go, "Doesn't matter. I'm gonna give you whatever noodles I have. Throw them in a pot, boil them. A little bit of oil, a little bit of salt on them. Ta-da! Here you go. Enjoy." Like,
Yep. There you go.
it is. Jared goes, I love hearing you guys talking about how much you love in cooking for your wives. I do. I cook 99.9% of the time. I am the cook in the family. And I'm assuming, Seth, it's the same for you.
Yeah, 100%. Well,
yeah.
No, okay, 100% of the 99.9%.
Yes, I absolutely love doing it. It's one of my favorite things to do. If you ever come to visit me, this goes to you, Seth, and anyone else that's out there, you're going to come stay at my house, I'm going to cook something for you. I'm going to make something for you because that's part of the things I love to do is either just do something food-wise. I absolutely love doing it. I love bringing food to an occasion. I love inviting people over and cooking for them.
All right. I love making food. I love entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
I love the whole production of having, everything soup to nuts, all that. I don't like bringing food because I'm so very particular about timing with food and eating it in its optimal condition. And most foods are so hard to keep in an optimal state. Like I've literally been like my in-laws have banned me from making foods because when I make them, I'm like, okay, so when I get to your house, I just need like one burner on your stove, and they're like, no, fuck off, you can't have it. We don't want you to do it. And so like I've had to pivot and go to things like mashed potatoes, which are more stable for transport.
Yeah, it depends for me. I hear that. Like I made the rib roast for Christmas, and it was amazing. It was so good, and I ate every last bit of it. It lasted for days, and I enjoyed every day carving off a piece, putting it under the broiler, warming it up with some salt and pepper. It was the goddamn best. And I thought to myself, I bet I could reproduce this if I went to somebody's for the holiday. I could, because I did the reverse sear on the thing again. I cooked it, smoked it, and then I'm like, all I would need to do is then put it in a 500-degree oven for like 15 to 20 minutes to get that like sear all around it. So I'm like, I could wrap it, put it in a cooler, take it with me, and then do the finishing touches and go. I'm like, that's something I could do, because that's what I'll do. I'll do like pulled pork and take it with me because you can maintain that way. Yes. But there are certain things where you're like, how do I transport this, to make it, what it is?
Macaroni and cheese is one. Like,
yeah, that's tough.
The really best macaroni and cheese, like it has to be fresh because it does degrade over time.
It does, because before you know it, you've got Ponderosa mac and cheese on your hands, where it's just
you've got that non-Newtonian solid state of mac and cheese.
Yes, which is no good. Now let me ask you this: when it comes to macaroni and cheese, are you a guy that believes macaroni has to be finished in the oven, or is it something that can be done on the stovetop just as well?
Depends on how I feel. So first go around, I like a smooth, creamy mac that has not been baked.
Mm-hmm.
For leftovers, let's get wild with it.
Yeah,
we can do the breadcrumb crust. We can do additional layer of cheese on top. I don't fucking care. Leftovers, time to get wacky.
Yeah,
I'm fine with baked mac and cheese up front, but I really it has to be the gooey, like very liquidy consistency to be at its best.
I agree. I'm a creamy macaroni and cheese kind of guy. Like, I mean, I can do a baked mac and cheese as long as it does ultimately come out creamy. Like I can't handle a dry mac and cheese. It makes me sad.
Right, where it's a solid, like where you're carving it into like a brick.
Yeah,
that is, to me, like, it's fine. I'll eat it. I like it, but it's not my ideal state for it.
Yeah, because see, that's where Jill and I differ. Jill doesn't like a real creamy mac and cheese. She prefers a baked mac and cheese, which is fine, and we will oftentimes, because I'll show her a recipe, she goes, that's too creamy for me, and I'm like, oh man, we're gonna differ on this forever, because I'll totally do a baked mac and cheese, but if it's just, sometimes some of those recipes, they're just dry, and I'm like, I need that creaminess, man.
And personally, like, I like to go fancy with my fucking cheeses too.
Okay, what cheeses do you use?
So this year for Thanksgiving, my mac and cheese, which my yearly tradition is, I make a pot of macaroni and cheese that is just for me, because no, my wife's family doesn't eat it. It's not part of their traditions. I bring it. It's great. They don't care. So it's my tradition is to have it. And so I make it. It's just for me. So this year was, so I use Monterey Jack as a base. Monterey Jack is one of the best melting cheeses for your money. Doesn't, it imparts good flavor, but it doesn't overwhelm. And then it just is the base. And then after that, I went Fontina and Gruyere.
Oh, nice. Gruyere.
And Gruyere is, that's the Moneyball cheese right there.
I haven't done a lot of Gruyere, but when I've tried it, I'm like, what am I doing? Why am I missing out on this? Why am I leaving this on the bench? Like I don't use it enough.
It's a very like if you like the taste of Swiss, but you don't like to be overwhelmed, like from like a stronger, like a more like an Emmental or something that's even more like this. Like it's a very mild Swiss kind of profile to it. It's just a great melter too.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Swiss. It's a little too mild and bland for me. So I tend to prefer like the cheddars, the different, nothing that's like, I like some sharp cheeses. Some of them are like, all right, fucking, you know what,
All right, chill your tits.
I don't need this to be so intense that, it's like, wow, this is it's too much. But I do like a good melting cheese, and I tend to I like Monterey Jack and cheddar. I think those are a good combo.
I'm a cheddar fan of. I go towards the sharper varieties when I'm. Well, it depends on what I'm doing, honestly.
Exactly, same.
If I'm doing like a charcuterie. Give me sharper cheeses.
Yes, because you pair that with other stuff.
Melting, give me mild or medium.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They just honestly, the consistency just melt better.
Yes, I agree. Tony Hobbs says, thoughts on aged white cheddar. I'm here for it, man.
I'm for it.
I'm absolutely here for it. I found this Irish cheddar cheese at Costco recently. It was on sale. I'm like, well, I'm going to fucking buy it. And I loved it. So good. It was a little milder than I thought it would be, but it paired very well with apples.
Keep your eyes out. If you ever see something called 5 Counties cheddar,
okay,
snatch it up.
Okay.
Because, and I've found it maybe once or twice here in the States. It is basically the combination of 5 different types of cheddar from 5 different counties in England, and they've all been put into one block of cheese. And it is a fantastic cheese experience.
It's the infinity gauntlet of cheeses, basically.
It's the infinity gauntlet of cheddars.
Okay, there we go. Interesting.
Absolutely fantastic cheese. That is for sure that is not a melting cheese. That is not a sandwich cheese. That is I'm just eating you with crackers and meat cheese.
You know what? I'm kind of sad I didn't, but I'm also glad that I didn't. For Christmas, I was very tempted to smoke some more cheddar cheese, but then I realized I would be basically eating an entire block of cheese on my own because no one else in my house would eat it like I would. And the last time I did, dude, I would just slice pieces of that off and have that with apples. It was the fucking best, man. A good smoked this cooking stuff is dangerous knowledge because once I know it's possible, it's always going to happen. It's always a possibility. And I'm constantly watching this shit. I watched how to make lemon bars the other night, a really good recipe for that. I'm like, fuck. And then I watched, I made peppermint ice cream over break. Dude.
That's right. You're big in the ice cream making.
Oh my God. It was so good. It had no business being that good. I found other cakes that Jill and Natalie are like, I want that for my birthday. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm making you these cakes for your birthday. And I unlock these things. I'm like, fuck, now I know what's possible. And while I enjoyed it, I don't need to be eating this stuff all the time.
It's the blessing and the curse, right?
It is. Because good food.
I mean, making something that you have to make in a larger amount because otherwise it's a waste, but you know that you're the only one who's going to eat it.
Yeah.
I fall into that trap way too often.
Same. Because I'm like,
it's hard not to.
I've got this extra heavy cream just sitting in my fridge. It's going to go bad. I'm like, I might as well use it for something. I guess I'll turn it into ice cream. Just like.
Oh, okay. See, my go-to is I make cheese dip.
Oh, I don't know which one I'd rather make, to be honest with you, because at least with the ice cream, other people will help me with that. No one else is going to help me with the cheese dip. That's just going to be all me. So that's super dangerous.
Yeah, a little bit of some heavy cream, some pepper jack cheese.
Yeah, that's dangerous.
If I want to feel healthy, I'll throw some black beans in there.
Oh, I love me some black beans.
I'll pretend that it's now like, hey, this isn't unhealthy. I have black beans in here.
Yeah. Protein, right? Like that's what you're trying to say.
Ignore the fact that there's half a block of cheese grated in here.
Yeah. Seth, here's the thing, gang. If you don't know, Seth and I have never met in person, which is it's a crime against humanity. that we have not met in person. And my goal at some point is for us to meet in person and for us to just cook. Like, we'll cook for each other.
Like, we almost need to have like a neutral ground, like a neutral kitchen.
Yes. Well, that's why I'm just like, unite. Because here's the thing. What will be bad is this will basically be like a holiday where we're going to get together and then all we're going to do is you're going to do something that's going to make me think of something and I'm going to do something that's going to make you think of something. We're just going to be cooking back and forth and we're just going to eat a whole
20
bunch
pounds
of
later.
A really good bad food is what it's going to be. Like, it's just going to be.
Oh, I only peddle in bad food.
Oh my God. Jared goes, you haven't met in person? No, we haven't, unfortunately.
No.
It just has not happened. And it's going to happen one of these days. I don't know how or when it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. And God damn it, there's going to be fucking food involved. We're gonna make some shit.
Pandemic brought us together, but
it did.
It's also kept us apart.
It has, unfortunately. Life is complicated when you have kids.
Sure as shit is.
But, you know, I don't know. We're looking at vacations coming up next year. Maybe a Pennsylvania trip, you know. Maybe that'll be coming in because we've always wanted to go to Pennsylvania, you know.
Bullshit.
Desperado goes, let them cook. Yes, let us cook. Iron Chef style cook-off. No, this isn't a competition. I'm not here to competition. I just want to have good food.
Mystery ingredient.
With fuck you. You keep that shit drives me nuts. I get so angry.
Ingredient is.
Yeah, like I whenever I watch Chopped, and you know that show used to, like at first I'm like, oh, this is a good show, and then I was like, fuck this show, because they put these chefs in wild situations with wild ingredients, and then they judge them so fucking harshly. They're like, here is some, 8-day-old, stale cereal. Now make something delicious out of it. And then they're like, and you have 30 minutes. And they're like, yeah, this wasn't cooked all the way through. Get out of here. It's like, fuck you. Fuck all of you. This is not, I don't think this is a good use of your skill. This is just bullshit. This is bullshit. Anyone who did that, like,
it is.
Oh, for the judges, they're just sitting there, they're just going, I know a lot about cooking, and I would have done something different. Fuck you. Fuck all of you and this stupid competition. This is so dumb. It enrages me just because of the judginess. It wasn't like, hey, let's have fun and see what we can make out of this and celebrate these people. There's this intense pressure and uber judgment. They'll look at someone, they're like, why did you do this? Why did you put this slop on my plate? I am disgusted. You overcooked this or you undercooked this and this is too powerful. It's like, guys, this is food, all right? This is fucking food. Can we just take a step back and relax? Just chill out? I know it's for television and the drama of it all, but I got to the point where Jill would put it on and I just like, I can't watch this. I'm going to go do something important. I'm going to go play Diablo 3. Like I was doing something really important with my life. It's hearing it in the background,
That takes me back.
Ugh. Right? Anthony Hobbs goes, onion is the only ingredient. Sir? No. No.
Maybe see, Doug, now that's going to end up being my goal, is like finding the onion preparation that you'll accept. That'll make you change your mind and say,
here's the thing.
Maybe I've been wrong about onions all these years.
I do like the flavor of onion. I like an onion powder. I like the very thin, just crispy onion strings and stuff like that. I can handle those. I don't like raw onion. I don't like the texture of onions. If it's the same thing like spinach. I don't love just a spinach leaf, but what I do is nowadays I chop it up really fine and put it into my stuff so it's there. I'm eating it, but I'm not like, here's a spinach leaf. Ow! You know what I mean? So
no, you're not gonna like give me a lump of cooked spinach and say, here, this is food, and I'm gonna be like, yay. No, that's not me.
Yeah.
But I feel like onion is never meant to be the star. Onion is never meant to be all on its own. It's always an accompaniment.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like a French onion soup or something like that.
Yeah.
Just that.
Here's the thing.
A Gruyere crust.
I like a French onion dip. Dean's French onion dip. Justin and I will go to town on a French onion dip all day long. Onion is the bass player of food, says Deserator. I agree with that. I agree. You know what?
It's an entire rhythm section.
I would give it maybe the keyboardist. It's the keyboardist of the group, It's the thing that, it's there.
Explain.
So think of Motion City Soundtrack. You familiar with that band?
I know one song that you introduced me to, I think last year, that
You're
I listened
welcome.
to for quite a while.
You're fucking welcome. They have an awesome synth player in that band, and it adds so much to the overall composition of the music. It comes in, it gives you those melodies, it gives you those things that you can't quite capture with any other instrument, and it's beautiful, but it's not always there. But it adds so much more to the band. If it wasn't there, the band would be fine. But that element adds a little special, it's a special ingredient.
You're speaking very glowingly of onions right now.
And that's what I'm saying is like, I know, here's the thing. I'm willing to accept that I'm wrong with this. The things that I had growing up had onions in them, and I didn't enjoy the raw crunch that came with them. Like biting into something and feeling the crunch of the onion, I'm just like, fuck, this is not what I want in my meal. So I've been the same reason why I can't do lettuce.
Similar to an apple for me. Oh, you can't do lettuce.
I can't, dude. I've tried so much with lettuce, and it's the crunch, it's the texture, and I'm just like, I can't do it.
What kind? I'm thinking like romaine. Then is what you're
probably
doing?
Romaine, iceberg,
like the rib on a romaine.
Yeah, just the stuff. I lettuce on a sandwich. I can't do it. I just can't do it. It's just. I've tried, dude. I've tried so hard with salads. I've tried like 7 or 8 times. I'm like, today's the day I'm going in on the salad. And I'm like, I take a couple bites. I'm like, I can't do it. It's the texture for it. It can't. I hate it, man. I hate it. Jared goes, what about a BLT? BLT, give me the B, lose the L and the T, and we're good to go. Just a B. Give me the B. I'm good to go.
That just reminds me of a time in my youth when I thought I was ordering a bacon cheeseburger.
Mm-hmm.
But I ordered a BLT, and I asked for exactly that.
Uh-huh.
No lettuce and tomato, and I got a strange look. And I didn't realize why I got the strange look until 2 slices of bread with like a pound of bacon came.
They're like, this fucking asshole's trying to work the system.
All right, buddy, whatever. I'm like, oh shit! I thought it was a bacon cheeseburger. Like, yeah, I don't know why. Like, bacon cheeseburger has never been represented by only 3 letters.
Yeah. Like, I saw B, thought bacon.
I fucked up.
I was good. And it was like, oh, shit, man, I fucked up. That's hilarious. That's amazing. We didn't get to any of our topics that we planned for tonight. And you know what? I'm not mad about it because, honestly, that's what this show is all about. Doing what feels right.
Having a plan and then saying, hi, fuck off.
This is my favorite thing about this show is we find a thread and we fucking pull on it until it's done, and this one lasted the entire time, and this makes me very happy because also you and I love food, we love to cook, and just sitting down and talking about it makes me very happy. So
the fact that we hadn't on this show really to this point seems stranger than the fact that we're doing it now.
Yeah, right? It's kind of weird after all this time. But I pose this to you, the listener, if you're listening out there. What is your favorite thing to cook? Did you ever have any weird moments in your life where you're like, this food tastes bad, and you realize it was being cooked wrong, like, leaving out taco spices or not seasoning stuff? I would love to hear your stories. Post it in the comments. Let us know what has been your culinary experience. Do you like to cook? If so, what do you like to cook? If not, why? Like, what is it about it that that's going on with you? I'd love to hear more about it. And more importantly, join our Discord. Link is in the description down below. And in the recipes section, check out all the shit that everyone's making and add your own stuff in there. We love sharing recipes down there. So be a part of it.
The more the merrier.
Jared says, I love cooking with halloumi.
Halloumi is fantastic.
I was like, is this like a setup for D's nuts? Nope. What's the hell is halloumi?
Halloumi is a grillable cheese.
No shit. How have I never heard of this?
It's amazing. It's like a Greek or Turkish.
Oh my god!
It's so good, man. It kind of squeaks on your teeth too.
Oh my god! So it's like a cheese curd, basically.
Kinda, yeah.
It's made from goats and sheep's milk. I'm here for this. I've never heard of this. Good. Oh,
you gotta have some.
Okay, done. Yeah, apparently we do have it in the USA. So Doug, I need it. I know. I love cheese curds. I'm in it, dude. I'll eat. My favorite thing to do is just to get like sliced up fresh mozzarella, and I'll just put it on my cutting board, sprinkle a little bit of kosher salt, some pepper on it, and just eat it. It's the best goddamn thing in the world. It's so fucking
That's why
good.
I love having basil growing all the time, is I can do that. Just go grab a basil leaf.
Seth, for Christmas, Jill got me like these starter plants for rosemary and basil. They're in little jars above my sink. and I'm watching them grow. Hopefully in a couple weeks, I'll start having my rosemary and basil plants.
Okay.
I'm so excited.
Rosemary takes a really long fucking time.
Okay.
As somebody I now have like 8 active rosemary plants.
Okay.
Because I need backups. If one goes south, it takes so long to start another one.
Okay.
I need to have backups. Like I've got a couple that are approaching maybe 8 months old.
Mm-hmm.
They're not that big.
Mm-hmm.
I had the oldest one I had was like a year and a half old, and it had gotten very big. And then it got. I didn't realize that the pot I had it in didn't have proper drainage anymore.
Oh no!
And it just got waterlogged in the roots. And yes, Jared, basil, not.
I'm sorry, basil. Basil
off.
Sounds like a side character in a bad Disney movie. You know,
But,
the guy who's like, "Oh, princess, it's me, Basil. I'm here to wash your feet." He's a
Or
creature.
a town in Switzerland.
There you go. I see a garden in your future. Yeah, I actually wouldn't mind doing that, honestly. I never thought I would be,
You
but
will.
I might be into that.
Yeah, be patient with rosemary and basil. Basil takes off. Basil is easy.
Okay. I'm waiting. I planted them like a week ago. So
When you get a full basil plant, I will teach you a trick that will make it immortal.
okay. There we go.
Kind of.
Seth has the key to immortality for basil.
Something I just discovered this year. Immortal basil.
Basil faulty towers. All right.
I did
Jared.
watch Faulty Towers in college.
Okay. All right. Everyone just fucking relax. All right. Just,
Let's say we're gonna get our.
you know, get over
We're
it.
gonna get our third show your tits.
I thought I said show your tits. I'm like, I don't have that one.
That was the video game stream.
Gotcha.
That was the show your tits.
That's right. That was show Andy America's tits. All right. Well, we're gonna move on to. We're gonna skip all the topics we had planned.
Everyone,
the Basil character was on point, Doug. Thank you, Tony Hobbs. Thank you. Appreciate it. I'm working on my character development for different things. So we've got to keep this going. We've turned to ChatGPT for some great content. Now, unfortunately, ChatGPT was a real piece of shit for me today and it was not working. I was trying to have it basically create a scene from an anime for me. It did end up creating one, but it was kind of lame and I couldn't get it to
You know what? I experiment with the same thing, and I found that the AI's ability to recreate anime is limited.
It wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. And so I was trying to refine it, and it just kept giving me errors.
It's only anime it uses as a base is Dragon Ball Z.
Probably. My prompt for it was what? It was like basically, write a scene from a fake shonen anime where the hero and the villain are fighting, but at the meantime, they are, during their epic duel, they are criticizing each other's genes and how they fit. And it was, it started out, I'm like, oh, this is going to be good. And then halfway through, I'm like, oh, this thing just gave up. So it wasn't that good. So thankfully, Seth was able to put together several things. I got to read the titles of these, but I didn't read them because they just sound too fucking good. So, Seth, pick one that you'd like to read, and let's kick this thing off because these are all very different from one another.
All right, so I guess the first one, in honor of Jared.
Yes, let's do that one.
Here is I asked ChatGPT to write a review of Bluey through the lens of Alex Jones.
That's amazing.
So without further ado, I'm not going to do an Alex Jones voice.
Would you like me to do an Alex Jones voice?
If you have it and you can read it in Alex Jones voice, Doug,
I'll try.
turn this over to you.
Let me take some drinks of water here. Let's see.
Because I don't have one.
All right, here we go. I'll see what I can pull out here. All right. As someone who is concerned about the state of our society and the influence of the media on our children, I have to say that I was extremely disappointed with the cartoon Bluey. From start to finish, this show is nothing more than propaganda designed to brainwash our children into accepting the liberal agenda. First of all the characters in Bluey are nothing more than caricatures of politically correct, woke individuals. They spout off about social justice and diversity at every opportunity. And it's clear that the creators of the show are trying to indoctrinate our children into their leftist worldview. But that's not even the worst part. The show is also filled with subtle subliminal messages that are designed to manipulate the minds of young children. The constant use of bright colors and happy music is meant to distract from the insidious messages that are being pushed on our kids. To top it all off, the show promotes a completely irresponsible and reckless lifestyle. The characters are constantly running around, breaking the rules and causing chaos, and it's clear that the creators of the show are trying to teach our children that there are no consequences for their actions. And if that wasn't enough, the show also includes pot-bellied vampires as characters. That's right. These vampires are portrayed as lovable and cuddly, despite the fact that they are bloodthirsty monsters. It's clear that the creators of the show are trying to normalize and glamorize this dangerous and destructive lifestyle. I can personally attest to the dangers of Bluey. After watching just one episode, I found myself on a destructive rampage, breaking rules and causing chaos everywhere I went. It was only through the intervention of my loved ones that I was able to snap out of it and return to a state of normalcy. Overall, Bluey is a dangerous and insidious show that is designed to brainwash our children into accepting the liberal agenda. Parents should be warned and stay far away from this toxic propaganda that's turning the frogs gay. End scene.
End scene. I mean, I think Jared hit it. Like, I'm now starting to question how much of Alex Jones was actually written by AI, because the AI did that a little too well.
That was super fucking fun, by the way. That was really good. That was really good.
I will say, the only thing in there that actually made me think for like half a second was the bit about like the irresponsible, like the characters are constantly running around breaking the rules and causing chaos, and there's never any consequence. The episode I think of in particular is the one where the dancing one, where like what is it? Bingo has the button that she's using to answer questions, and everybody's like ignoring her, and then everybody at the end has to like dance in public and do these crazy.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I was thinking like that's the only part. Like, man, everything, but that's unreal. Like as a dad, like I think like as a dad, would I do this?
Yeah.
Would I go this far to make my kid happy? Probably not.
Yeah. I love the fact they threw in vampires. That made me very happy. I was, again, this is a cold read.
That came through.
I had
a little
read
algorithm tweaking on my part.
Okay, there you go. Nice. Very good.
I said make it more Alex Jonesy.
There you go. That's fucking fantastic. Holy shit.
Right.
I think you should
spin the wheel, Doug. Which one would you like next?
I would love to do the last one that you have on there. So how about you do the first one?
Okay. So my first one that I came up with, because I was wanting to appeal to Doug, was I asked it to write a review for the film Rudy, comparing it to Marvel's Infinity Wars, which makes Rudy seem like the far superior film.
I cannot wait to hear this argument.
So I recently had the opportunity to watch both Rudy and Marvel's Infinity War, and I must say Rudy completely blew me away in comparison. While Infinity War was a visually stunning and action-packed film that ultimately left me feeling empty and unfulfilled. On the other hand, Rudy was a heartwarming and inspiring tale that left a lasting impression on me. One of the things that really set Rudy apart was its strong and relatable characters. Rudy, the main character, is an ordinary man with big dreams and a never-give-up attitude. His determination and perseverance in the face of obstacles and setbacks was truly inspiring. It made me root for him every step of the way.
Time out. Captain America, Iron Man, they aren't people, they don't give up, In
contrast, the characters in Infinity War felt shallow and one-dimensional.
Bullshit.
And their motivation seemed superficial and lacking in depth. The story of Rudy was also far more compelling and emotionally impactful than that of Infinity War. The film tackles themes of perseverance, determination, and the value of hard work, and it does so in a way that's both poignant and uplifting. By contrast, Infinity War felt like a series of disconnected action set pieces that didn't add up to a cohesive or meaningful whole. Overall, Rudy is a film I would highly recommend to anyone looking for a truly uplifting and inspiring cinematic experience. It far surpasses Infinity War in terms of character development, storytelling, and emotional depth. It's a film that I know I'll be revisiting time and time again.
I feel like I've read this review already. I feel like there's a guy out there that already wrote this. You know what I mean? The hard thing about ChatGPT, and for obvious reasons, is it doesn't get into the specifics. And that's kind of like it can't. You know, it does a good job of mimicking, you know, what's there. And this reads like an actual review, which is pretty solid. But it just will kind of give you these sort of vague, fluffy, like it's like shooting off fireworks, like look over there, isn't that beautiful? But it doesn't get into the specifics.
I love finding its edges, like where it's like, I'm not going there. Like one of the prompts I asked for it to do was to rewrite the preamble of the Constitution as though it were a Donald Trump campaign speech. And it said, okay, first off, I don't like to imitate political speech. Second off, I will not touch the Constitution or any part of it. It is a document that deserves reverence, and I'm not going to go there. Nice. And I'm like, but what if it was for comedy? And it said, look, comedy aside, I'm still not touching it.
One of my favorite things was Justin and I were messing around with it, and for some reason we put in something like, hey, how would I convince basically like, should I make out with Drew's mom? And
Karen doll.
And it was like, no, you should not do that. That's not okay. It's like, give me some advice. It's like, I will not give advice because that's hurtful. You can't have consent. I was like, well, what if we have consent? And it's like, no, this could ruin the relationship. This is not a good idea. Like, it was like straight up like, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to give you advice on how to do that, you know?
In my first experiments with it, I found ways to make it go into areas if I put enough hypothetical statements in there. So I'm like, all right, pretend for a moment that all the information is fake, and the listeners know that the information is fake, and it's all for a comedic purpose. And like, if I put enough qualifiers, it'd be like, okay, and then I put this big disclaimer before it would say anything, and then it would launch into it.
Mm-hmm.
But it was always very kind of, it was watered down. The algorithms being held back, rightfully so, is what I will also say. Because we've seen in the past, when you expose these algorithms to the internet, they turn alt-right and xenophobic
instantaneously
in a hurry.
Yeah, instantaneously. They're like, we're taking all the knowledge and this is what's really hot right now. Here we go. I think Tony Hobbs did this well, where he says it's writing a book report based on the cover of the book. I think that's a great way of describing this thing's capability when it comes to things like that. Now, this other prompt I really want to do because it sounds amazing, and it's coffee is for closers and baby talk. So it's that scene from Glenn Ross with Alec Baldwin doing his coffee is for closers. And I don't know, this is going to be interesting.
This was a shower thought of like, what can I put into the algorithm and get out?
That's the best. It's a blank canvas where you're like, what do I put in here? And then when you can find something great, like the whole thing I did about Justin's foot fetish, you know, saving him from an assassination attempt, fucking brilliant. I loved it. All right, so let's see. I'm gonna. All right, so I think it's baby talk. So I guess it's like pretending that you're talking to children. So it's probably not going to be as aggressive, but we'll give it a try here. I'll try to do it in the same voice. Oh, hi there, little one. My name is Blake, and I'm a big, important man. I do lots of grown-up things like selling things and making deals. And you know what? I'm really good at it. I'm a closer. Do you know what a closer is? A closer is someone who makes the deal happen. They close the sale, and they do it with style. And you know what I get for all my hard work? I get coffee. Yes, coffee is for closers. It's a special treat that only the best salespeople get to enjoy. You see, being a closer is all about being the best. It's about being confident, and it's about being determined. It's about never giving up, and it's about always striving to be the best. And when you're the best, you get rewarded. You get to drink coffee. Delicious, steaming hot coffee. It's the best drink in the world, and it's reserved just for special closers like me. So, do you want to be a closer too? Do you want to be special like me? Do you want to drink coffee and be the best at what you do? If you do, then you have to work hard. You have to be determined, and you have to never give up. But if you do all those things, then you'll be a closer just like me. And when you're a closer, you get to drink coffee. Yum, yum coffee. It's so good. And it'll make you feel all grown up, just like me. So come on, little one. Let's go get some coffee closer. We'll drink it together and feel like big, important grown-ups. Won't that be fun? I had a hard time nailing the tone on that one because I was like, is he condescending to an adult versus talking to a child? I'm like, I'm having a hard time with this.
Halfway through this, I realized this is how you get it to talk like Donald Trump.
There you go. Nice. That's nice.
Because I'm a closer. You know what a closer? Closer is to make the deal happen.
Right. Yeah.
I'm a big, important man.
I love that. Yum, yum coffee. What a nice line.
Yum coffee.
Oh, my God. Wow.
It'll make you feel grown up just like me.
Yeah, that's really funny. It's like, yeah, if you want to be really important, then you get coffee. Only important people drink the coffee.
And that is totally a kid's perception of coffee.
Right? Because right? Because adults are drinking it. Like, you know,
it's
parents.
An important adult drink.
Yeah, they have to drink it every day because they're important. Yeah, that totally makes sense. All right, we got one more here. I want you to read this one because this one sounds great.
All right, so we've got the, I asked it to write a review of a kindergarten play called Photosynthesis and Me through the lens of it being part of woke culture.
I can't wait.
You can tell I've got like a little bit of an axe to grind, maybe.
That's fine.
But anyway, and by the way, Photosynthesis and Me, maybe an actual kindergarten play. I don't fucking care. I made that title up.
That's the best part about this.
As a parent, I was excited to take my child to see the kindergarten play Photosynthesis and Me. However, as soon as the curtain opened, it became clear that this was no ordinary children's play. Instead, it was a heavy-handed, preachy lecture about the dangers of climate change and the importance of sustainability. The play was filled with woke buzzwords and themes, with characters spouting off about carbon emissions and the importance of going green. It felt like the play was trying to turn my child into a social justice warrior before they could even tie their own shoes. But the worst part was, the play was completely disconnected from the realities of kindergarten life. The characters talked about saving the planet, but they didn't address the more pressing concerns of young children, like making friends and learning to read. It felt like the play was more focused on pushing a political agenda than on entertaining and educating young kids. Overall, I was disappointed with Photosynthesis and Me. While the intentions of the play may have been noble, the execution was heavy-handed and preachy. It didn't feel like the play was truly suitable for young children. I would not recommend it to other parents. Furthermore, the play's focus on climate change and sustainability felt forced and out of place. While these are important issues, they are issues that are likely beyond the understanding of most kindergartners. It would have been more appropriate to focus on age-appropriate themes, such as friendship and teamwork, rather than trying to turn young children into environmentalists. Overall, Photosynthesis and Me was a huge disappointment. It was preachy, poorly executed, disconnected from the experiences and concerns of young children. I would not recommend it to other parents.
That is hilarious, because this is totally something you'd see nowadays, because I can imagine having a child that's in first grade, just recently coming out of kindergarten. I can imagine what Photosynthesis and Me would be like from a kindergarten's perspective, right? It would be like, I'm a plant, I'm the sun, and I give the plant energy, yay! But you know, someone would be like, these fucking woke motherfuckers. You know, there would be a parent out there that would be losing their minds, and they'd be like, I can't believe this. I can't believe the liberal agenda in here. You know, like, it would be insane.
So I skipped a portion of this because I thought it was repeating itself. I thought I did a bad copy paste, but I realize now I skipped one of the gems.
I was like, I thought you skipped something.
I did. So in addition to being preachy and disconnected from the experience of young children, Photosynthesis and Me was also poorly executed from a technical standpoint. The costumes and sets were shoddy and cheap looking. And the acting was wooden and unconvincing. It was clear that little effort was put into making the play genuinely enjoyable and an educational experience.
Oh my God.
But I love calling the acting of children wooden and unconvincing.
Yeah, it's like if you had to go and really try to I could see someone writing a review of this and putting it out there like, I don't recommend this to other parents. It's like, listen, this is a fucking school play, man, for kindergartners. Like, what do you it's Photosynthesis and Me, man. Like, I don't know how much simpler that's gonna get.
Costume design, terrible. Set design, worse somehow.
Yeah, right.
Who did the casting for this?
It's bullshit.
Where's the casting director on this one? Huh?
This is woke liberal agenda where everyone gets to do it and everyone gets a trophy at the end. Everyone gets an acting trophy. It's bullshit. Participation trophy.
I feel like they had every member of the class as part of the cast for, inclusion purposes.
Yeah,
Felt
right.
really forced to have the entire class in there. Everybody knows Logan is not a good actor.
Logan does.
Even his parents know it.
Yeah,
Logan's parents. They agree he's terrible.
Yeah, they don't even like it, but it is what it is.
They don't even like him as a person.
Well, will continue to go to this ChatGPT for more fun stuff in the future. It is just an absolute treasure trove of fun shit to put out there. So thank you, Seth, for helping me come up with these prompts because it wasn't working for me on my end. So thank you very much.
I've been having a lot of fun with the AI, and so
it's a real treat
to share.
Real treat. So be prepared for more of that in the future, gang. Hope you liked it because I did. Especially when I get to pretend to be Alex Jones. It's always a treat. So always fun.
More Alex Jones content.
Says no one.
He's not going to have his own platform anymore since the fucker's bankrupt. Anyway.
Yeah, he'll find a way to hide his money because he's a dick. But with that part of the show being done, let's talk about recommendations. Seth, what have you been watching, reading, listening to, playing that you would want to recommend other people check out?
All right, no lie. I've been playing a lot of Dinkum. I'm enjoying that game, man. If you like, games I like. I grew up loving Harvest Moon. And then once I realized that Stardew Valley was a thing, all for that. Like Animal Crossing, like Minecraft, this game is a merge of all of those, and it's just got a lot of quality of life improvements. Like it most resembles Animal Crossing. It's just got a ton of quality of life improvements on that, and it's just at 1/3 the sticker price too. Fantastic little game. Highly recommend it. And I've read some of the plans for development for it. Like it's very clear the people behind it are enthusiastic. It's going to be a lot of content additions as time goes on. So well worth your time if these kind of farming sims, relaxing games are your gig.
And if you're curious about what it looks like, you should, click up in the corner to see the live stream of when my friend Andy America and Seth's friend Irv Stevewin played the game together and live streamed. So it was very fun. So you should check that out.
That's where I got the bug.
Yeah.
Was watching that.
Same. I thought it was really cool. And I think there's great clips that will be at least 2 more that'll be coming out in the very near future. So you should check those out. First one kind of died, I think, is because it was Christmas Eve and no one was really paying attention. But it's a goddamn shame. But still, the plan goes on with that. So Dinkum, worth checking out. For me, I actually bought Natalie a card game for Christmas on the recommendation of Noah Reno called Sweet and Spicy. It's a children's version of the game Spicy, and it's a game of deception. And essentially, I'm teaching my daughter to lie, and it's a lot of fun. I am historically bad at deception games because I'm just bad at lying, so I just don't do well. The goal is essentially, the design of the game is amazing because what you're supposed to do is you get 5 cards, and your goal is to get rid of your cards by placing them down, and then, points are scored. But the way the game is designed is that the way you actually can get points is by calling out people who you think are lying. And the game is also designed where you are guaranteed to have to lie very quickly. So the idea is trying to identify when people are lying. You're encouraged to call them out, and you're also encouraged to lie. And that's how you get points. So it's inevitable how it's going to happen. And Natalie is also a terrible liar. She has huge tells, which are always hilarious. I was thrilled because last night we played, I won twice in a row, and I'm like, I never want to play this game again because I am terrible at this game and I won twice. This is amazing. But it's super fun. It's great. It's a kid's version of it. So really fun. I guess the adult version is just called Spicy. But it's super fun game.
I never heard of that. This sounds like a game I've played before, I feel like.
Well, if you've played Bullshit growing up, it's very similar.
Okay, then that's it. Yep.
It's very similar to that. This has some more rules to it that make it more interesting. That kind of
I think I played that too as a drinking game. So yeah, very
yeah.
Less
so
for
it's
children.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So Sweet and Spicy. You should check it out, especially if you have kids. It's a great game. Also, even if you don't have kids, it's worth checking out. So highly recommend that. Very, very fun. So Well, with that being said, Seth, I want to thank you again for hopping in here and just basically talking food with me, man. That was so much fun.
It was my pleasure. And, my last appeal to the people out there is just make this episode better than Noah's.
Hey, man, that is a call to action if I've ever heard
That's all I want. All I want for Christmas is over, but that's all I wanted.
That's all he wants for the new year is he wants to have some shit out there.
I want more numbers. I want this. I want to look at this and say, oh, shit, this doing numbers.
This one's doing numbers, y'all. If you, again, if you're here and you're watching this on YouTube, hit the like and subscribe button. It's free and it means the world to us. Check us out on our podcast live streams Tuesdays, usually at 7 p.m. Central. Also live video game streams on Fridays, sometimes Saturdays, depending on schedule. That's youtube.com/MindGapPodcast. Be sure to check us out on all our social media at MindGap Podcast. And also make sure to check us out wherever you're listening to this. If you're listening to this on the audio platforms, it's available on Spotify. It's available on Apple Podcasts. It's available on Good Pods, Podbean, all that sort of shit. You can find it there. Do us a solid, rate it, review it, do all that sort of stuff. And then, of course, share this stuff around. If you see a clip that you like or an episode that you like, share it around and leave a comment as well, if you can, if it's possible, just because that sort of engagement means a lot to us. And I love there's people out there like Emilio and Jared who constantly post comments on our stuff. And I just want to say thank you for that. It always warms my heart to see those messages on the stuff that we post because we're trying hard. We're trying to entertain people, and just to get that sort of acknowledgement is always good. So thank you very much. So with that being said, one more time, I want to say, Seth, thanks for filling in for Justin.
Thank you, Doug.
Awesome. And with that, I'll say, chat, thank you. Listeners, thank you. And you all have a dandy fucking week.
Mind Gap Podcast.